it's Jacqueline or Galactica and welcome back to my channel, finally. I feel like I owe you guys a little bit of an explanation on why I went MIA for so long, and it's just the simple fact that I got really busy over Christmas. I did a lot of pet portrait commissions, which is awesome for me, and I was doing Twitch 3 times a week still, and my creative energy was just completely drained, and I would not have been able to put the passion that I would have liked to in my YouTube videos for you guys. So that's why I went on about a 5-week hiatus. It's probably longer than that now. I didn't really keep count and everything's a blur over the holidays anyway. But I'm back and hopefully more regularly uploading, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell just in case I am a little bit irregular, because that does tend to happen with me. Anyway, a few weeks before Christmas I got this. I think I ordered it back in October, but it is the Schmincke what's it called? A Hors-d'Armes Aquarelle watercolor palette. So it's the 12 color one, and I wanted to test it out on camera for you guys because up until now I've been using a mixture of Winsor & Newton Cotmans, which is the student grade one, and the Professional Sennelier paints, which I find it's a little bit hard to use sometimes, especially when it's really hot. I find that they are a little bit temperamental because the binder in them is honey, whereas the binder in these are gum arabic. So I'm hoping that it kind of changes my painting process and I don't get as frustrated when those hot days come along. So I'd like to open them with you, test them with you, do a few swatches, and then I want to compare them to my Sennelier ones. So let's get into opening this one first. Okay, so let's have a look at these. They're still in their packaging and they came like early December. I've been so eager to use these, but I wanted to share it with you guys. So, let's see. So I just got the 12 color pack, as you can see. Oh, it's always so nice getting new supplies. Look at this. Oh. I was gonna like empty them all and put them in my little watercolor palette thing. So I've got this wooden watercolor palette that I really like how it splatters and makes it look really rustic and, I don't know, messy. I really like that style. I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but this looks so nice as well. Ooh. Oh, I can create my own color chart. I even did a little quick color chart that I could do up here, but they give you one. That is so sweet. Oh my gosh, how do I even get these out? Why is it so hard? Why do I have nails? Oh, got it. Look how cute they are. Alright, so we have the lemon yellow, yellow orange, geranium red, purple magenta, ultramarine finest, hello cerulean, phthalo green, very Bob Ross, hello green, helio, not hello, helio green, transparent ochre, transparent sienna, transparent umber, and ivory black. So we don't get any white, but I'm at the point where I don't really need to use white, so that's good. Also, I apologize for the state of my nails. They're terrible, I know. Okay, so I'm just gonna unwrap these real quick. Okay, so I've run into a little bit of an issue here. It's a little bit stuck on the transparent umber, so I hope we can save this. I might have to get like a little knife or something. Maybe some water will loosen up. All right, there we go. So if you experience this, just get your watercolor brush and, whoops, we've got a drip now, and wash it back into it. There we go. Problem solved. We just got one more to unwrap now, so. All the rest were fine, it was just that one colour. First up, we have a lemon yellow. And I'm using my Princeton Neptune brushes for this one. It's beautiful. I mean, the real test is going to come when I do a piece of artwork. It's got really good pigment. That was quite a lot of water that I put down in that second swatch, so I'm pretty impressed with that. Let's move on to yellow orange. Now, I don't have the equivalents in my Sennelier paints. The closest I have is probably Indian yellow. I think that will be the best comparison. So I'll give you a little swatch of these two when I can. Alright, so just for reference, here is Indian yellow by Sennelier. It is quite a lot different. One's a cool yellow, one's a warm yellow, but you know, we're gonna look past that. I'm just more interested to see how the paint works and how it compares to each other. See, the Sennelier lifts really easily too. So does the Schmincke. Alright, I'm going to keep testing these for you guys. Okay, so I'm already finding that it's a lot smoother on the Schmincke ones. I think the Sennelier ones are a little bit more transparent and a tad more grainy. So that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to choose between the two for yourself. I know that Sennelier do quite transparent watercolors, so that is to be expected that it is slightly more transparent. I did put quite a lot of this one, which is the alizarin crimson in Sennelier, to try and match the geranium red. Geranium red. Oh my gosh, I got there in the end, it's fine. But yeah, it was still quite transparent on that particular color. So now we've swatched all of our colours and pitched them against the Sennelier ones, let's do a piece of artwork where we can showcase both of them. On the left we have the Sennelier paints and on the right we have the Schmincke ones. So I'm off to a pretty fast start on the Sennelier paints, but you'll soon see that I actually overtake myself on the Schmincke ones. So I found that working with the Schmincke, I got a lot more saturation really early on compared to the Sennelier ones, where I had to keep layering it over and over again. I do also want to point out that I actually painted the Schmincke one first, even though it shows up on the right hand side, it looks like I've done it second. I actually did that one first, so I didn't have any preconceived idea on how the fox structure would be, where I wanted the shadows to be. So the Schmincke one is the first go through, the Sennelier one is the second copy that I did. Whilst there were some variations throughout the process that I used through each piece, I did try and edit them so they would show the same kind of areas at the same time so you could see how they fared against each other. It's already pretty easy to see that the Schmincke ones had a lot more saturation. Again, the Sennelier ones needed a lot more layers. I found it quite tricky to lay down the layers as well because when they get put down, it's easy to lift the layer below it. So I kept having to reapply those top layers to make it a little bit more opaque. In saying that, there are a lot of art styles that would benefit from that style of paint. So if you do a lot of florals, a lot of delicate work, or a very loose style, the Sennelier ones would definitely be the way to go. I found that the Schmincke ones were a lot easier to control, but once you put them down, they were a little bit harder to lift than the Senneliers, but that's the style of painting that I prefer. You might prefer the other one. Even at the end, when you see the end result of these two foxes, you might actually prefer the delicacy of the one on the left over the one on the right, but I personally prefer more opaque saturated colors like the one on the right. I should probably also mention the supplies that I'm using. I will put these in the description box below, but I'm using Archer's 300 GSM paper. It's the cold pressed medium tooth one, and I'm using my Princeton Neptune brushes. I'm not using any special type of water, it's just tap water. I know people like to use distilled water and stuff like that, but I just use normal tap water. At this point, you can really see the difference in saturation between these two pieces. I have used the same process, the same style of colors as best match that I can, and yeah, it is so much more opaque on the Schmincke ones. This flower, doing these flowers, really showed the difference in saturation. I didn't use any different techniques. I tried to use the exact same technique, but the amount of color that I managed to push into that first layer with the Schmincke ones was such a big difference compared to Sennelier. I'm also wondering if the amount of time that I've owned the Sennelier ones makes a bit of a difference. I have owned them now for over a year and I haven't used the blue as often as I've used the other colors that I've put into this piece, like the burnt sienna, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not sure if age makes a difference and if the Schmincke ones will end up the same. I never remembered it being very opaque though, so I'm not too sure about that statement. It's just a possibility, I suppose. I really do want to reiterate that I'm not trying to bag Sennelier. I have used them very happily for a year now, but I had never really kind of used anything else except for the Winsor & Newton Cotmans range, which are a student grade, so it's not really much to compare it to. So it was quite interesting for me and eye-opening for me to try something that was completely different. As I said at the start, the Sennelier ones use honey as their binder, whereas the Schmincke ones use gum arabic. So that could be a huge factor in the differences between these two and just the way they're manufactured as well. But anyway, that was just my opinion on them. You might have a completely different opinion if you have tried both of these. Please let me know in the description box below which one you prefer using, and let me know which fox you preferred me drawing as well. Oh, real quick, I just have to come back and say, because I was looking through my edit and I forgot to mention that the Sennelier ones dried a lot slower than the Schmincke ones. I'm not sure if that's a trait of the watercolor itself because of the binder, or if it was external things like the weather or the water temperature or something on that day. But yeah, that was something interesting that I noted as well. Okay, so I've finished my two foxes with the two different paints. So on this side we have the Sennelier, and on this side we've got the Schmincke. I know there's going to be someone watching me saying, "You're saying it completely wrong, girl," so I apologize. I actually had to teach myself how to say the Sennelier from last time because I said it wrong throughout the video. I think it would be more like Schmincke. I don't know. Someone please correct me. Anyway, so I would have spoken about this through the voiceover, but I very clearly like the Schmincke better. It's a lot more opaque and vibrant, even though I have very similar colors. I'll bring my swatch back over for you guys. They are very similar colors, especially the yellow ochre, the burnt sienna. The warm sepia is a little bit off. The Indian yellow is kind of a bit more vibrant than the yellow orange, but you know, there's still quite similar colors, but yet in a piece it's obvious that the Schmincke ones are more vibrant. I've said this throughout the video, but the Sennelier ones are more, I think they're more suited to something like florals or very loose watercolor paintings, whereas the Schmincke suit my style of painting a lot more, where I like to pack in the color. I like to get that saturation, that vibrancy, whereas in the Sennelier I found it a little bit more tricky. Also, Sennelier lifts a lot easier, so when you're putting more layers on, I find that it's harder to keep the layer underneath. You have to be very light-handed, and I am not. I'm quite heavy-handed, so the Schmincke ones are a little bit better for that style of painting if you're looking for something that suits more heavy-handed stuff. Again, more delicate stuff will do really nicely with the Sennelier ones. So if you do a lot of florals, a lot of really loose watercolor that you just want it to go, you know, wherever it wants to go, I find that Sennelier does a really good job of that. It likes to be free. Whereas the Schmincke ones I feel like are a little bit more controllable. Anyway, so that is my review on the Sennelier versus the Schmincke. I just want to quickly at the end here recap something that I did a long time ago. I did it back in, I think, October of 2019. I did a Sennelier versus cheap paint. So cheap versus professional was the video. It's still one of my top videos, so you can have a look at it. I'll link it somewhere in the, you know, iCard section or in the description box below if that's more your jam. But I actually did foxes for this video for a reason, and that was because my first comparison paint video I did foxes. I drew foxes. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit of progress from where I started to now where my skill level is at. So this was the Sennelier paints when I very first got them back in 2019, October, I think it was October 2019, and this is the cheap one. So it's a little bit of progress photo for you there, which I found quite fascinating, and it was really cool to actually see my progress in this type of animal, the same type of color, the same, you know, I always have liked kind of the floating in space type of thing, but in these ones I used a reference photo of a real fox, whereas in this one I just kind of used a figure drawing and added my own details on that. So yeah, I've come a long way, and I just wanted to share that with you guys so you can see my progress. I mean, I'm not saying that these are necessarily bad. They were quite good and I was really proud of them at the time, but where I've progressed to now is quite a stark difference, and I'm really proud of myself. I hope that it motivates you, and you can start taking photos or keeping your old work. If you get frustrated with something, just keep it, because you're going to find it in another couple of years and look back at it and think, oh my gosh, look how far I've come. So it's good to keep progress like that. I hope you enjoyed me showing you that little progress there. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video for now. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. Don't forget, I am live on Twitch 3 times a week. I do art most of the time. I have been playing The Sims a lot lately, so if you are interested in watching me play The Sims, then head over there on, I think Fridays is usually my Sims day, sometimes Wednesdays, but I do try and do more art than I do Sims. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!